slide, we were on the planning, right? And still, I think we completed up to this part. Okay. The cost benefit analysis that we discussed last time. And then it was actually part of the feasibility assessment. When we do the planning, we do all the assessment in terms of the feasibility of the time, schedule, economic feasibility. And then here is the part of technical feasibility. When you plan, right, you need to really determine whether technically the project is possible or not. Okay, so here, this is, we already discussed scheduling, economic, and now it's on the part of technical feasibility. So, there are dimensions that we may need to consider, of course, technically, whether it is feasible or not. Also, there is things related to risk that you may need to analyze. Not everything will go smoothly, right? There could be something unexpected happen. So potential risk and risk management, risk prevention, risk mitigation, and so on. These are the things that we need to really consider, okay? So for example, these are some potential consequences if we don't do and we don't make a proper risk analysis and risk management. For example, you might not be able to obtain expected benefits from the project. You might have inaccurate project cost estimation, duration estimation, or even the performance of the project, performance level of the project. Maybe we expect that the system will have the capacity of handling 10,000 users, but in reality, when you launch and then develop and implement the system, it can handle only 70% of the expected number. So what would be possible risk and things or the consequences, okay? And even in terms of system integration, when you really introduce new system, it doesn't mean that it will go standalone, right? It will for sure, you need to integrate the new system with the existing one. Company may have existing systems. Your new system may need to work and align and integrate with those existing ones, not only in terms of the software system, but also in terms of the hardware system. Okay, so hardware, software, and even business procedures, operational procedures, these are things that we need to take care of. Okay, so the project risk factor would include project size, which is determined by the size of the team. Okay, if your project is big, the team must be big as well. The number of departments involving, okay, the duration of the project. If properly defined, of course, this will be proportionally together, right? The size of project, size of team, duration of project, even the effort that has to be given, okay? Other factors that we need to consider would be related to the project structure. Whether the project itself is a totally new thing or a maintenance, an upgrade, a renovation of existing system and so on, okay, in which it might result or lead to changes in the organization. It's very important when you talk about project, remember we discussed and read from many articles the project success factors, failure factors. Is not only technical development or technical issue alone. It's also related to organizational issues, people issues, communication issues, even change management, resistance management, and so on. Those are factors that could make the project fail, not because when you study in master program in many courses, I think when you do a project, when you did a project, even in the past semester, if you did, the only thing you consider as a success if you can finish the work, right? You just finish the work, show it to the professor. Hey, okay, this is the project we have done. We have feature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the members. We work together. This is the result and show. And you run smoothly. Once you click something, it works. This is fine. You define that this is your successful project, right? Professor happy? Fine. But in reality, only having the system running, showing nicely with the beautiful UI, UX, and so on is not the only thing. Even that things happen so great, still the project could be a failure because maybe the organization, the people, the user, they don't want to use. They are so nice, they work correctly, fine, but it's difficult. It's not with their kind of working habits. Somehow people have their working style and so on, right? You may not feel comfortable to change your working style from the previous to the new one or something like that. That could be problem too. So that is example, okay? And user perception, development group, of course, this is very technical related because it's about whether the team, development team are familiar with the new technology, the new platform, the software that will be used, the development method that you are using or not, and so on, okay? And how about the user? Okay, if you need to engage user, involve user, as we will learn after the mid-semester exam when you do the project, then user need to be part of the project team somehow. Join the meeting, give feedback, give input, run or do some acceptance testing with the team and so on. Whether users are willing and comfortable to do it this way or not, that is also the thing, okay? And so on. And whether when you introduce the new system, they, as I said, they're willing to do it or not. Okay. So these are, in conclusion, we can use this diagram to picture the risk of the project, in which it would involve scope, factor, communication factor, dimension, procurement, dimension, human resources dimension, project integration, project quality, budget, economic, and schedule, right? So these are dimensions that could lead to certain risk of the project. And once you can define or analyze properly, okay, it's very important to analyze properly beforehand. Sometimes, if you have you ever planned something and it doesn't go well according to the plan, right? This happens. But if you ever thought of that problem before, that, oh, yeah, maybe suppose it's about your project, your assignment, your work. If you ever thought that, what happened if I get COVID during the time that we have to submit this work, sit in the exam, deliver the project, or so on? If you ever thought of that and you think that, oh, if it is the case, I will do this and that. If you have some idea of certain problems that might arise, sometimes you feel like you get some idea of some solution beforehand, right? And when it comes, it's not really a total surprise to you. You got some way, some initial solution that you ever thought of it before, something like that. And then that thing is somehow becoming manageable to some extent. Okay. So the risk assessment means that you think of those factors that could go wrong. The thing with risk is that when you really need to do risk analysis of the project, you might find somebody, if you are very optimistic person, maybe you will have a very beautiful world thought. You never think that things can go wrong. Then you need to consult some friend who you feel like that person is a pessimistic one. Then he can think of all the possible wrong things, situations that could happen. So the risk management and risk analysis start from trying to analyze what can possibly go wrong. So you list them down, all those things that can go wrong with your project. Okay. And of course, you may need to group them. Once you may start with this, what could go wrong with the scope? Oh, maybe Dr. Shutiphon will add more and more and more and more into our project. So the scope become bigger and bigger every time, not able to manage. This can go wrong, right? What about communication? Oh, we have a team. Maybe it's very difficult to plan the time that we all are available to meet and work together. That could go wrong. It could be that we cannot schedule a meeting with the user because user have some busy schedule. We have class and so on. What could be a solution in that case? That could go wrong, right? That list of the things that could go wrong first, then we will think about solution or something later on. If you need to buy some new equipment, what could go wrong with the procurement, such as in the past years during the COVID, I'm not sure you're aware or not, the pricing of certain hardware are kind of skyrocket. It jumps high. You may think that, oh, we have 10,000 baht. It's enough to buy something you plan for. But at that time, it was 25% higher price. What to do? Then you could not buy it with the budget or not. Or another thing is kind of supply shortage. That really happened. We had a project with partners in other universities in outside Thailand, in Sri Lanka. That time, the shortage of supply prevented the partner to buy project equipment. And it's kind of several million that has to be returned because they cannot spend the money. And so on. And of course, there are certain issues coming on, not only spending the money, right? It's about whether we can really fulfill the work objective that we have to do and so on. And about human resource, something could happen. Our friend may get sick. Our friend may resign from AIT. That can happen. So initially you have 5 people. Now you have only 4 people. Something like that. Okay. What else? Project integration. Okay, you're not integrating. You may not think about it. Quality, cost, time. Okay. I think these are things you can think about. And once you analyze each of the things that could go wrong, group them in terms of category, right? And then analyze the impact of each risk. Analyze the likelihood of the risk. What does it mean? In terms of impact, means that if that risk really happens, will it be a big issue that affects your project? If it is a big issue, it means that it has very high impact. If even that risk really happens, Yeah, somehow it's acceptable. We will be able to handle in some way. It's not a big thing. Okay. How about likelihood? Likelihood means like probability that the risk could happen, high or low. If the probability is high, and then the likelihood or the impact is also high, then you are in this zone, which is called high impact and likely to occur, your risk. And that is very dangerous, right? The risk, if it occurs, it will make big impact. And it's likely that the risk will occur as well. So, wow, something has to be taken. Certain action has to be taken soon to handle this quadrant. So if we kind of use this kind of matrix, okay, and plot your risk, you will be able to see what kind of risk that you may need to handle very first. Even it doesn't happen yet, okay, but you may need to do what we call, okay, let me see. I did not say here. Okay, but let's look at this. I will talk about that. Okay, so if you use this is the likelihood. This is the kind of impact or consequence. Okay, so you can divide into kind of quadrants. Okay, cells such as, it's me or what? It's me, right? Oh, what happened? Okay. For the consequence or impact, as I said, if it is low impact or insignificant, it could be that risk. What types of risk it has? It is that it is a risk that is easily mitigated by normal day-to-day process. If it happens, fine, we can solve it, no problem. Okay. Minor impact means it might delay up to 10% of the schedule. I mean, these things are what you define, okay? Because different project may have different nature and different scale of the impact or consequences. You may need to analyze properly for your own project. If it is a moderate impact, it can make the project to delay by 30%, okay? And increase the cost by 30% as well. If it is kind of this, catastrophic impact, let's stop the project. If that risk really happens, okay, because then the impact is very high. So it's better that if something happened here, the project should or must stop. So it doesn't mean that you wait until it happens and stop, right? When you analyze this, I will talk, okay. And the likelihood, certain means it's more than 90%, this thing will happen. Very rare means, for example, in this example, less than 3% chance of happening. So whenever the impact is low, insignificant, likelihood is also very low. These things are something very safe, right? So you could see that in this, we kind of divide the zone. Like for this zone, the green zone, it seems to be something you can handle, manageable. Even the impact here, moderate, but the chance is very low, right? The chance that this thing will happen is very low. So it's unlikely that it will happen. The same here. And I think this is the very super safe zone. Chance is super low, impact is also super low. So you feel fine. You don't need to worry much about risk that would happen in this zone. What will you do is that you actually need to fill in what types of risk fall into each of the cell, okay? But then in the yellow zone, I think you may need to pay to look carefully as well. Yellow zone here, such as 90% chance, even the impact is low, but it's very sure, very certain that it will happen. So you need to have some kind of procedure or things prepared. Okay. Nowadays it's like I used in the past 2-3 years, I think many of the people that I know, for example, we are very preventive. We are very cautious. None of us, those we know, never got COVID. For example, this time, these days, this month, or from the end of the year, oh, that person, I got a news and update. Oh, she or he just got COVID. He or she just got COVID, and so on. So the certainty of having COVID for those who never have before is kind of, to me, okay, my analysis is more certain. Any of you here know COVID at all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the rest you have experienced some. You have got COVID already, right? Okay, you too, me too. So 4 of you are the survivors. I hope you keep surviving. Okay, but don't get scared. It may be in your lifetime or soon you might be able to get it. Okay. Anyway, it's now very safe in terms of treatment and the symptoms and things. So it should be pretty fine, especially you are very young. And you are all vaccinated? Okay, that's still you? Yes or no? You vaccinated? You have the COVID vaccine? Yes. Okay. All right. So the chance, if the chance is very high, you will get it. But to me, as I said, the symptom and everything is fine, easy to be treated and so on. You are maybe in this group. Okay, we need to pay attention somehow. You may need to prepare to have some medicines at home just in case you have it. You may need to prepare your mind at what to do if you have it. Think about the procedure. I lock myself here. I will ask my friend to give me food. I will prepare those things, right? And then you will find. The thing is, once we analyze, you need to do some preparation. Okay, and I think for the yellow one, you need to have some operation preparation. For the red one, you really need to do something. Doesn't mean that you wait until it happens for the risk, but you really need to even do something to prevent it. Not that, okay, if it happens, I will prepare my mind. No, not just to prepare your mind. You need to prevent it to happen. Okay. Okay, we look at this first. This is to categorize the risk into several groups or dimensions according to the types of the risk. For example, let's look at here. If we talk about the performance dimension, support dimension, or support component, cost components, and schedule components, okay? So we are talking about the risk and then the consequence that it will make impact to the project, such as if it is a catastrophic types of risk. In terms of the performance and support dimension, it could be that we fail to meet the requirements and these will lead to mission failure. Because as I already said, if you cannot really deliver a project that the user wants, that is really a failure of your project, right? User wants something, you develop something else. Even you said at the end, okay, I have something for you, but no, it's not what we want. Then we don't use it anyway, and we maybe not sponsor it, not do anything with it. Okay, I think I will need to write this down. So for each risk, especially the moderate and then the high zone. Remember the yellow and the red zone. Actually, it should be good for every types of risk you identify, but the emphasis will be more on these two because it gives some impact and it's likely to happen, very sure. So what you need to do is you need to think of preventive measure and implement, not only think, you really need to implement the preventive measure. Not like prepare your mind, as I said, okay? Do something to prevent the risk to happen. For example, when we say that COVID is very, it's easy to get it, right? I mean, the preventive measure is lockdown. The preventive measure for us not to get COVID is to get vaccine so that it reduces the impact, right? And also reduce the chance that you will get COVID during the time that vaccine is not spread to everyone yet. So these are really preventive. It's not like we do nothing. We just, okay, if it happens, we go to the hospital. We have nearby hospital here. No, you prevent it to happen. The same for the risk. If you think that you may have the risk, which is, let's look at some example. Okay. Let's say that during the time of a project that me and colleagues in AT work on, okay, we have an international collaboration project with 14 partners, all in different universities and institutions. The risk that we analyze, of course, when the COVID comes, because we never know about the COVID, so we never analyze COVID factor before. But once it happened, one of the risks that we analyze is that COVID would prevent, we cannot do any travel due to COVID. The project requires a lot of travel, not a lot, but 2-3 trips per year to travel to visit the partners and do the project meeting and so on. The training field trip. So we cannot do the travel. And of course, this for sure, I already mentioned that we have preventive measure. This we cannot do anything to prevent, right? When you cannot travel, it means you cannot travel. But so preventive measure cannot be the case. But what we can do is the adaptive measure, or maybe some risk mitigation. That means when the risk really happens, what you can do to make it less impact. Still, it will happen. You cannot solve, you cannot cause it not to happen. So we have this factor of mitigation. So we make use of course, online meeting through Zoom. We make use of course, online training. We do have not only meeting, but we do really have a training similar to AIT as well. We cannot welcome students on campus during the 2-3 years period, right? What we do teaching online, we do hybrid system, we install, we buy, bought equipment and so on. This is the mitigation. The risk already happened. The things definitely happen, but instead of saying that, okay, we close AIT for 2 years because we cannot have students, then we don't operate the university at all. That is the thing. No, you should not let it happen that way, right? Okay, we still want to operate AIT. We still want our students to graduate. So what to do? Then shift the instructions into online and hybrid. Shift the research supervision into online and hybrid. Shift the working. I mean, it's not only what we teach and we supervise, right? We also do our work, some other things. So the work will be work from home and come to the office only 1 or 2 days maximum per week, no more. We don't allow more because if other staff faculty get COVID, there is also a big issue that time. We don't have good medicine, we don't have good vaccine that time. We didn't have yet, something like that, right? So still there are many things because this is only the COVID in terms of the travel, but COVID in terms of the life and death, I mean the health issue. If somebody, the staff, the project member, the development team get COVID and severe condition happen, it's also a big thing, right? We lose one member, we lose our friend, we lose our colleague, and so on and so on. So in that case, of course, the work from home is the solution. But work from home alone is not the solution. You need to prepare all the technology. For example, somebody may not have internet, good internet at home. Okay, then kind of the project have to provide internet package. Or even that time, some students stay on campus, they could not return home. We need to make sure that internet in the dormitory, for example, is good enough because we don't want students to come and have a social relationship together. At that time, it has to be social distancing and so on, right? So something like this. So many things has to be handled. All the things are risk mitigation. The risk already happened. The problem already happened. How can you relieve the impact so that it's not too bad for the thing to happen? Okay, so another thing, let me see here. Okay, I think that's all for now. These are just example of the dimension. Then this is very important that you do risk analysis. And since, okay, I will talk about that later. I will talk about our project. We, in this semester, we need to work on a project, right? Okay, next is about operational feasibility. Does the proposed system solve problems or take advantage of the new opportunities in terms of operational feasibility? If you introduce a new project or change of improving something, it may change the procedure or operation within the business. For example, in Thailand, I'm not sure how it is like in your country now. Everything is go online now, so I'm not sure whether you experience this or not. Have you been to a bank in Thailand? A bank physical branch, or you do everything online and ATM? No, never go to a bank yet. At least you open a bank account. That is the only time you go, right? You went. But in the past, what happened is that when we didn't have mobile banking, web banking, internet banking, and so on, if you want to withdraw money, deposit money, and you don't use ATM machine to do this, you go to a bank, right? What do we do? We queue, maybe we get a queue or we line in a line. We write down, fill in a form. How much money you want to deposit and withdraw or what? What is the bank account, the number, your account name, the amount of money, then your signature. Let's say we are withdrawing, okay, or even depositing is similar. You fill in all these details. And how about if you open an account? The same. You have a lengthy form to fill in, right? Your name, your citizen ID, passport number, or address, and many things, and the types of account, and the declaration that you, very many things. If you open the first account, you do it. Later on next month, AT asks you that, oh, we need another account. Or you have, by some reason, you want another account. You go to the bank, open another account. It's fine. You can have many accounts as you want. You fill the same form. To me, it's a kind of annoying. You have my information already. Why do you need me to fill the same form that I really need to fill in my same information again and again and again? If I open 10 accounts 10 times, I fill the same form 10 times with the same information. Of course, my name, my ID is to identify me. It is fine. My address, working address, people to contact when something happens here and there, things related to my income, my work stability, and many more. I need to spend like 10-15 minutes filling this form again and again every time I open an account, even with the bank that they already have my information in the database. Okay, so this is the problem. Even you fill in the form to withdraw or deposit money, you fill in so many things that actually the bank already have information about, right? But nowadays, they already changed the operation. We only fill in very small things and then sign with the signature that you are that person, and then maybe telephone number for emergency issue about the finance transaction. But nowadays, yes, I don't need to repeat filling all those lengthy forms anymore because everything is there, and I just declare that I don't change anything. Keep the old record, that's fine. My address still my address, my workplace still my workplace. I don't change. So this is what is called operational procedure. Sometimes if you think of the new system, you may need to change the operation. So whether or not the organization can re-engineer its process and change the operation. In the past, it has been doing this for 10, 20 years, but now with the new system, they think that, oh, every detail is already stored in the database. Why do we need to ask customer to fill in the same thing? We just print the information and ask customer to check that the information that the bank has about the customer is correct and then confirm and sign. Finish, right? That is supposed to be. So now it is like this. You want to open account, a new one, account number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. You fill in only the first time. Every other time, you don't need to fill in the same information. They will ask you to verify whether the previous information is correct and then fine. But yes, to do this, the new system has to be designed with the new operation, right? The staff at the bank need to be trained that, okay, no more asking this form. We decide new form, and then we need to print all the detail, ask the customer to sign, and so on. This is the thing that requires change in terms of business process and operation. So feasibility concerns in terms of operational change has to be analyzed. Okay. It's not that, okay, we design new system and we force everyone to follow. That is not the way. The same as well, before AIT used paper-based registration. I think when you were smaller and smaller, when the internet and web system was not there, paper form filling and everything is the thing that we have, right? So we fill form. But nowadays, we don't need to fill form. We just click on the internet. But again, the operational change, instead of asking form, and then if you are a student, in the past, when I was a student at AIT, I register by filling a form. I want to register course A, 1, 2, 3, the name of the course, such as 8202 DMM, 3 credit. 8203, this course, 3 credit, and so on and so on, and then sign my signature, and then walk to my supervisor. Oh, Professor Vacharapan, can you sign the registration form for me? After she signed, okay, I walk to registration office, deliver this to the registration office, and then file. Later on, I want to drop or do any other things, right? I fill in another form, ask for signature, go to the registration office. Nowadays, everything done on just computer. But the same, as I said, operation change. People, users, staff need to also understand the new operation. You need to redefine the new way of operation and make sure everyone agree and comfortable with the new operation and so on. Legal and contract. Okay. Are there any legal issues? If there are, this can be a factor that you need to consider for the feasibility. Okay. If it violates or it's not lawful, by sure, don't do it, right? When it is not lawful, don't do it. Or when it is not lawful, but then you heard some insider that, oh, in the parliament, in this and that, the government is changing the law. They are going to change the law, and this will be possible. But until then, this is a risk, right? If finally, okay, we want to be the very first, let me use again the cryptography. Before in Thailand, it was not legal. But if you want to be the very first provider that gives the service of trading cryptocurrency in Thailand legally, if you could really become the first company giving this service, for sure you get a lot of customer, you get high commission, you get transaction fee, and so on. You become very rich. But you cannot wait until the law say yes, and then you start development for another 5 months, right? You might think that, okay, once they are in the discussion now, we start the development at the same time. And when the government declare this legal, now at that time we launch the system the next day. Oh, then we make money, right? But in this case, you are taking some risk. That is, if finally the government the Bank of Thailand decided that, no, we are not supporting cryptocurrency trading. Suppose finally they announce it. What happened? You have no other choice but abandon your project for sure, right? So what you have to do when you don't know, of course, you need to analyze whether this risk of having cryptocurrency trading to be lawful or to be not lawful is likely to be what, right? If certainty 90%, you know that it's not gonna approve. So actually you would not start the project, right? If you know that you have only the chance of 10% that trading will be legal, I don't think it's worth investing. But if you know that, oh, it's about 10 to 50% chance that it may not be approved, you still feel that still is this zone, right? Still is this zone. It is not catastrophic only when the chance is super low. But anyway, this is the thing that you really need to properly analyze and try to see if you want to take risk or not. Okay. And as I said, you can have risk mitigation. What could be? If it is about the crypto trading, you invest on platform development, the blockchain, the trading transaction interface system, and so on. Maybe you think that if it is not approved by the government, what would we do? The system itself maybe can be customized into something else. Suppose, okay, if that is the case, this is the mitigation, that still the investment you have on the system development is not totally lost, but can be used in some other ways that give benefit to the project, okay? But if really a total loss, then you really need to carefully consider. Okay, legal, political, okay, stakeholders, politics inside the company, inside the organization. If there are issues, taking something concerns regarding the political issues within the organization, within the country, and so on, this would be a concern as well. Okay, so I think this is about the planning. Okay, so I now finished the planning topic.